What's up, everybody? Hey, fam, this is Tree from treeoflogic.com. So yesterday, my beloved president, Donald J. Trump, made a profound statement in reference to tearing down a lot of statues. And I found his press conference to be, heartwarming. I loved it. Actually, I picked out some profound things that I loved the most. I picked out the highlights that I loved the most. And I was working on that video and gathering some evidence to support some points that I was making in that video. And then I came across this little gem right here. Now, I still may do the video, but, this sidetracked me so much that when I started playing it and listening to Miss Don Lemon start playing the race card, I was like, oh my God. And I couldn't help but just yell at the video while he was playing the victim. So I said, you know what? Let me record myself responding to this guy on fake news and actually make a video out of this. And then I'll decide whether I'll upload the video on President Trump's conference. I think I still may do it, but I thought this would be a fun video. I haven't done a fun response video in a long time, and so I decided to do one now. So come walk with me down the crazy lane of CNN with your host, Don Lemon. Take it away there, Don.
Let me get Don Lemon into this conversation. Don, how did you see it?
I'm saddened, Wolf. I'm sitting here thinking as we were about to go on the air, what am I going to say to Wolf Blitzer? What am I going to say to my colleagues? What am I going to say to the country and the world who is watching?
Oh my God, Don. You are a terrible actor, all right? You sort of I don't know what I'm going to say to my colleagues. I don't know what I'm going to say to America. I don't know. Here we go. So we understand that you hate Donald Trump. We understand that everybody over there at CNN hate Donald Trump. But are you really going to take this to the level of black people being oppressed? Do we really? By the way, I haven't watched the entire video, but I bet you he's going to go back to slavery. Because y'all know that's always the ace in the hole card for black folks. When they want to show something for today and make it relevant to why we are so oppressed, we got to always bring up slavery. Now look at that suit Don wearing. All right. Yeah, and still he oppressed. You see that beautiful skin? You think those facials are cheap? Oh no, but he oppressed. Do you know how much Don Lemon gets paid every other week? No. But he oppressed. Let's listen to how oppressed Don Lemon is. Oh Lord, have mercy.
This is a sad moment for the country, and I think it was an awful moment for the person who's supposed to represent the highest office of the land. I mean, today you saw the real Donald Trump.
Here we go with the Trump bashing. It's no secret that CNN hates our president, and it's no secret that our president hates CNN. But can we all admit that when CNN talks about our president, they're gonna talk from a very skewed and biased point of view? It's not going to consist of facts. It's strictly going to come from a biased opinion from people who absolutely despise our president. Let's just call this what it is. This is not news. This is just, I hate Donald Trump and let me tell you why. That's all this is. But let's listen to Don Lemon tell us how racist our president is and how oppressed we are as people of color, which is the same as colored people, which is a racial term. I hate that term. How we as black folks are so low down and oppressed with institutionalized racism. Go ahead, Don. Play that race card and play it well, honey.
Proving all of his critics right in that moment. Everyone was sitting there watching, saying, here we go. His true colors are coming out.
His true colors are coming out.
To equate a group that is a protest group, two protest groups, yes, they're both protest groups, and they were talking about Antifa or Antifa, however you want to pronounce it, calling them the alt-left.
Yes, I love that term, because since you guys want to make Antifa this hero group that's here to save the day from the neo-Nazis, Antifa is far from being a hero. Antifa is a domestic terrorist group. But see, Don, you like Black Lives Matter. you support Black Lives Matter. And as a matter of fact, you defended Black Lives Matter on numerous occasions. It's something about you and these violent groups like Black Lives Matter and Antifa. You seem to really like the fact that they go out and hurt people. You really like the fact that Black Lives Matter has actually endorsed the killings of white police officers. Don, you love a hateful domestic terrorist group such as Black Lives Matter advocating the violence of blacks against whites. You like the idea that Black Lives Matter has encouraged black people to go out there and hurt white people and kidnap white people and torture white people and on several occasions kill white people. If it's anybody who's racist, it appears that you're the racist, because the one thing I find in common with Antifa and Black Lives Matter is that they go after white people. They like to attack white people and they like to torture and hurt, and one day they will kill somebody white. Now, unfortunately, a dumbass Nazi killed a white woman by accident. No matter what you think about the idiot, he did not do what Micah Xavier Johnson did and go out there purposely with the purpose of killing white police officers. All right. Even though James is an idiot, okay, he is an idiot. He's a racist idiot. He did not set out to purposely kill anyone. Gavin Long, who is another black radicalized supremacist, went out there to kill white police officers. Yet still, you never condemned these radical black supremacists who have been influenced by Black Lives Matter and the new Black Panther Party. And the reason why you will not talk against them, Don, is because they like to kill and hurt white people, just like Antifa. Just like Antifa. So if anybody is the racist, it's you, Don. You hate white folks. I'm calling you out on it.
Well, that group protests fascism. So they were there protesting fascism. Maybe their tactics weren't exactly right. All groups like that, political groups, rights groups, protest groups, it's messy.
Okay, first of all, Antifa was not a protest group. Antifa is a domestic terrorist group. Antifa was there illegally, no matter what you think about the Unite the Right. And I think what they did was disgusting, okay? I disavow everything that they did. Coming out there with swastika flags, doing the Nazi salutes, singing the song Blood and Soil. Oh my God, their racism was out in full view, honey. And they were proud of it, okay? They were not ashamed of doing the Nazi salute. They were not ashamed of going Sieg Heil. They wasn't ashamed of none of that. But they were there legally. No matter how much you hate it, they were there legally. You know who was not there legally? Antifa. Now, a lot of people were talking about Black Lives Matter. I'm sorry to let you guys know, as much as I can't stand Black Lives Matter, they were not there in full force. That was something I discovered was a lie. There was a very small group of Black Lives Matter members. But the largest and the most violent group there was Antifa. And they hate white people too. And like I said earlier, anybody who hates white people, including other white people, you will support them. And this is the reason why you're trying to paint Antifa as a protest group. No, they weren't there legally, Don. They were there illegally. They didn't have a permit to protest. So they were an illegal counter-protest domestic terrorist organization. I know you're not going to call it because you're on the Democratic plantation trying to convince these black people that our side, the conservatives, are full of racist whites and coons. But if you really look at the history, it is your side that is filled with the racist whites. Hashtag not all.
But there is a difference between the two groups. One is a Nazi white supremacist group. What they want to do, and in their hearts, is extinguish people who look like me and who look like you, Wolf. Jewish people, black people, even women. They don't think that we're equal to them.
I'm not going to dispute that, Don. In that group, you had a lot of racist ass white people. I'm not going to lie. I totally agree with you. So here's what you had from Saturday. You had people who were part of Unite the Right fly flags that came from a country that we fought against in World War II. And I don't believe that the left is innocent either, because they are flying flags that represents communism. So now, and I don't believe America has ever been a communist country. So why are we having people from your side of the fence flying flags, red flags, with the symbol of the hammer and sickle on it? Can you explain that, Don? So here we have some despicable people who want to turn America into Nazi Germany, and then you have some other despicable people who want to turn our country into communist Russia. But it's people like you who really want our country to go into communism. You probably want us to be a socialist communist country, because if you support Antifa, you support communism. And what you're doing right now is making an excuse for the violent domestic terrorist group known as Antifa. And Antifa wants America to be a communist country, not a capitalist country. And if they get their wish, Don, guess what? That nice suit you wearing, that nice watch you wearing, those manicures and pedicures you're having along with those facials are going to go bye-bye, honey, because you can't get all those nice, lovely things in a communist country. So go ahead and tell us how fabulous and legal and legitimate Antifa is.
The other is a protest group protesting a political and a racist movement. Now, I'm not saying either of them, I'm not saying that group, all of their tactics were right, but they were there protesting hate in America. And in order to have this conversation, and which the president doesn't seem to be very aware of the history of this country, you have to be aware of the history of this country.
You're not aware of the history of this country, Don. Who started the KKK, Don? Who was against the Civil Rights Act, Don? Who fought to keep their slaves, Don? Who created Jim Crow laws, Don? Who enforced Jim Crow laws, Don? And last but not least, who was against the desegregation of the South, Don? I'll give you the answer. It was the Democrats. Yes, that plantation that you're working on right now. Yeah, it was your side who was doing all of that against black people. So our president is well aware of the history of this country. Unfortunately, your viewers, especially the black liberals, are not aware of our history with the Democrats. I see all through your lies.
And we have to discuss the history of this country. And the history of this country is that it came out of racism.
Yes, racism that was started by Democrats and ended by Republicans. The Republicans ended slavery. Democrats wanted to continue slavery. They did not want to let their slaves go. They did not want to treat their slaves as equal. They saw black people as property, not as humans, Don. And you know this. But because your massa pays you so well, you get to be pretty on TV and lie to black people. Shame on you, man. Shame, shame, shame.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
It came out of slavery. People who look like me did not come over on the Nina, the Pinta, or the Santa Maria.
That were all filled with Democrats, Don. Republicans weren't on those slave ships, Don. The ancestors of your masters were on those ships, okay? Taking our ancestors that they brought from Arabs and Africans, by the way. They didn't start going in there and taking black folks. They brought and traded African slaves from other Africans and Arabs. And the ancestors of your masters filled those ships up with those brought and traded slaves and brought them over to America. And they fought tooth and nail to keep them as slaves. That is what you're never going to tell your audience. You want them to be ignorant of the history of slavery when it comes to the Democratic Party.
And those people who are there want to keep people like me enslaved.
Yes, Don, honey, they do want to keep you enslaved. As a matter of fact, they actually have you enslaved. Why do you think you are the only dark thing sitting on this panel right now, honey? Okay? You are called the house Negro. You are being pampered and treated well by your massa. And your massa is trying to tell all the field Negroes that the Democratic Party is looking out for their best interests. And that organizations like Antifa and Black Lives Matter are fighting for equality and the rights of black people because we are so oppressed. You know what? Oh my God. It's amazing that you can do this with a straight face. But what's more amazing is that black people look at you and take everything that you're saying as truth.
And that's why they were protesting. And to talk about the removal of monuments at Robert E. Lee High School, can you imagine having to go to a school that has the name of your oppressor on it, or walking into a building and seeing a Confederate flag or a Confederate flag hanging at a government building?
What is the difference between going to a school named after Robert E. Lee versus having your parents vote for the same Democratic Party that fought to keep your ancestors enslaved? I don't understand this hypocrisy, Don. Okay, if you have a problem with children or teenagers going to a school named after their so-called oppressors, then why do you continue to vote for a party that oppresses you? The Democratic Party has never had black people in their best interest. And yet still you have a problem with historical Democrats, but you don't have a problem with the 21st century Democrats. And basically they are the same. The only difference is they don't wear the bed sheets anymore. Okay. By the way, fun fact. The Democrats started the KKK, and they don't walk around lynching people. That's against the law now. It's considered murder. But back then, it was not considered murder there, Don.
Imagine if you're a Jewish person in Germany.
Oh, here we go with the Jews. You can't stand on the oppression Olympics without including the Jewish people now, can you?
And you had to go to Hitler High School or Goebbels Elementary School or middle school. That would be completely offensive to you on the deepest level.
Yet, being a Democrat is not offensive, right, Don? Continuing to vote for the Democratic Party is not offensive. Oh my God, this race card is amazing. I never seen it played this way, but I must say, I am amazed at how well you are playing it.
And that's how people of color feel in this country when we have to deal with figures like Robert E. Lee, like Confederate flags.
By the way, Confederate flag represented the Democrats. It was a battle flag, all right? And Robert E. Lee was a Democrat. Let me say this again. Robert E. Lee was a Democrat. I don't want these statues torn down. I want them to stay right where they are so that I can remind black folks that you see the statue right here? Are you offended by him? Did you know he's a Democrat? Did you know that the Democrats were for slavery? Did you know that the Democrats love having slaves and they fought to keep their slaves? Did you understand that the Democrats hated the fact that they had to give you equal rights? Did you know that the Democrats created Jim Crow laws? You know them Klansmen that you don't like? Did you know that the Democrats started them? See, I want these statues to continue standing so that I can inform people who are watching them who the Democratic Party really is and was. Your masses want them taken down so that they can rewrite history.
It's no different than flying a swastika. It is insulting. The president is ignorant of history.
You're ignorant of history, Don. And how come the sickle and hammer is acceptable? I agree. I am insulted by the swastikas, but you're not insulted by the sickle and hammer? More people died underneath communism than Nazism. It's a fact. Fact check me, Don. I dare you.
He does not know context. He should be ashamed of himself. He should go back to school and get an elementary education on how this country started and about protest groups and how this country works and who he represents and who he should represent.
And now you see why we call CNN fake news. Because anytime you tell a president that he needs to go back and learn history and you yourself are ignorant of history, and like I said, Don, I don't believe you're ignorant of history. I do believe that you know damn well that the Democratic Party has always been racist against black people. And I believe you do know this, but you are getting paid so well to pretend to be oppressed, to pretend to be offended, that you will get on TV pretending that our beloved president is ignorant of historical facts when it comes to the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. So if anybody needs to go to elementary school, it's you, Don, honey. You need to go to elementary school and learn your history. But we know you know. We know you know. You're just here pretending that you don't know so that you can keep black people deaf, dumb, and blind. So continue playing that game, Don. You ain't fooling the blacks on the right. We see you for the fraud that you are. All right, taters, I hope you enjoyed this clip. I think I am going to still do the video in reference to our beloved president. I do like the points that he made in reference to the liberals trying to tear down a lot of these monuments in order to rewrite history. And I probably will upload that tomorrow, but this should keep you nice and entertained until then. All right, now remember, I need you guys to sign up to my email list just in case anything happens to me here on YouTube. At least you will get information on where you can find me. So please go down to the description box and sign up for my email list. It's a quick way of being able to keep in contact with me. Just in case my channel up and disappears from YouTube, you will at least have a place to find me, okay? So please, 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 with sugar on top and whipped cream and a cherry, sign up to my email list so that we can stay in touch. All right. This is Tree from treeoflogic.com. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I will see you next time. Later, taters.